So I wanted to take a moment and talk about family, because family is huge. There's going to be huge changes if you decide to leave the witnesses, especially if you have family that are Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's going to mean huge differences for you when it relates to family that are not witnesses as well. So just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes. My situation was rough, probably not as bad as some others. I've heard of some others where everyone in their family are Jehovah's Witnesses, so they lose everybody, which is really difficult. My parents, we've always lived close to my parents, and then 4 years ago we built a house for them on our property, and they've been living at our place since then. They just moved out in August, so about a month and a half ago. Or no, end of July they moved out. But it was after I had talked to them. If you watch my video about Chad, I talked to them about Chad and how I didn't want them talking to my kids about witness stuff because of what I saw with that. That's when they decided they were going to move out. They said they weren't moving out because of that, but we have a garden, and they had planted their garden, and then told me they had been thinking about it for a long time. And I'm like, well, it couldn't be that long because you planted tomatoes last week. So you couldn't have been thinking about it that long. So I knew it was because of the Chad talk I had with them. And it's frustrating. When my mom left, when they were finished packing their stuff, she's like, oh, we'll see you soon. And I'm like, no, you won't. I said, I know you won't, because you're disconnecting from our household because you don't want to be around us. That's why you're moving out. And I knew that I wouldn't be seeing them, and we haven't seen them since. They haven't come down to visit. They keep wanting to take the kids over for a sleepover for the weekend, which we don't allow because they go out and service on Saturday and then go to the meeting on Sunday, and they're going to end up taking the kids to one of the two, and which is not okay. We're not going to allow that. So we've invited them many times since, though, to come down, and we could all go do something, go to the park or go play golf, or we all watched the Patriots the other day at my grandfather's house, invited them for that. And she wants to do something with them next weekend. And I said, sure, we can all get together and do something. And the only time she's going to give my kids is between 3 and 5 on Sunday. So they've been living with us again for 4 years. My kids have seen them every day. And since they've moved out, so almost in 2 months, they're going to give my kids finally 2 hours on Sunday. So it's a difficult situation. It is very frustrating. So your family won't talk to you. Just be prepared for that. In a way, if not all your family are witnesses, a way you can prepare for that is by connecting with the family that you haven't connected with for a while. So I have my grandparents and uncles that live fairly close, within an hour, and we just never really associate with them because as a witness you never associated with your family because they're all going to die at Armageddon, so why associate with them? And it's not that you hate them, but you just don't have a very close bond with them. So now I can form that bond with my grandfather and uncles and cousins, which is awesome. So I've been trying to do that, get together with family a lot more. And I encourage you, if you are leaving, start talking with your other family and let them know. My grandfather actually called me or wrote me an email about a month ago, and it was to the effect of, don't hold my kids back from my parents. Don't let what's happening ruin my kids' relationship with my parents or their grandparents. Which I totally can understand, but I knew why he was saying it. My mom was telling him that we were holding the kids back from her. So now I have to make it a point to explain. I wrote a letter to all of my family explaining exactly what was going on, provided articles that the Watchtowers put out about how you shun your family, and said, this is what's happening, just so everyone's aware, because witnesses like to manipulate what's happening. They don't really talk much about shunning. Even as a Jehovah's Witness, when I was a witness, you didn't really tell other people you were shunning them. My great example is my wife's brother, my brother-in-law was disfellowshipped, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law, my mother-in-law is a witness, my father-in-law is not. And she didn't even tell her husband that she was shunning her son. We ended up telling him, but he didn't even know for like the first year. He just was wondering why his son wasn't coming around the house. And so we ended up telling him, and he was pissed. But I mean, that's how much it is. Even the wife won't tell a husband if he's not a witness, because they know shunning's wrong. They know it's wrong, but they do it because that's what the witnesses tell them to do. Ergo, that's what God tells them to do. So, because they believe whatever the witnesses say is what God tells them. So, it's just so twisted and messed up. So the whole family situation can be really tough when you leave the witnesses. But please connect with your family that aren't witnesses. You may have not connected with them. Connect with them now. You have the opportunity. Family is super important. So connect with those that aren't witnesses. And for the ones that are, remember, it's not them. Whatever you can do, remember it's not them. Your mother and father would never shun you on purpose. That's not that's not normal affection. Nobody would ever do that. But they're being coaxed to do that through a religion. So I almost liken it to a mental disease. Like someone with Alzheimer's, an old person with Alzheimer's disease might do something they never would have done before, but it's because they have a mental block that, they have a disease that is not allowing their mind to work correctly. And your family that are witnesses have that same problem. They have the witnesses blocking them from doing what they normally would do as a family member. So blame the religion. Don't blame your family member, and that'll help you to have a much more positive outlook, because you don't want to hate your parents. You don't want to hate your brothers and sisters. It's, even though not talking to you and shunning you is such a horrible, evil thing to do, they're doing it because they think they're doing what God is telling them to do. So it sucks. And that's why a lot of people get mad and pissed at the religion, because it is a horrible thing. But anyway, your other family loves you. I know my grandfather was excited that I left, and he was excited to see me a lot more. So I know your family too will be excited to see you, and let them know what's happening. Be frank about it. Don't throw the rest of your family under the bus, but let your family know this is what's happening, and provide that. What you say sounds crazy. Shunning your own son or daughter or brother it sounds crazy. So provide an article, link them to the JW website, to an article that talks about shunning. This is a good one, and I linked in mine. It was like a 2015 or 16 article where it talks about not even eating with such a person. And I'm like, my mom takes it to that extent. She wouldn't even eat with us. She wouldn't even say a greeting to me. So, you have to show them that that's really what they're being taught, because it does sound crazy. Everyone else, when you tell them, they're like, no, that doesn't sound right. It just sounds like you're being a bitter person, and you got to explain why you're not. So anyway, hope everyone has a great day, and I hope you get a chance to talk with your family, and I'll see you on the next video.